We all know them. People that say one thing but mean another. People we can't really trust, no matter how good they are at sharing their mind and what they think, or at least what they think they want us to hear. We need to talk about something that happened this past week because it's important for you to see how things are shared and how things are manipulated to make them seem good. Stay tuned in this episode. Was it 284? A wolf in Sheepdog's clothing. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. As always, it's me, Steve, and thank you for tuning into the show. It means a lot to me. Before we really get cranking into this episode, I need you to do me a favor. I have a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers on both my YouTube and my Rumble channels. So the only way to make that happen is if you guys pitch in. So please, if you like the following episode, like, share, comment, do all the things that they say to do, right? Maybe hit the notification bell or whatever. All the YouTube things that they keep telling you to do. Also, I've had a little trouble. Last episode did not upload to Spotify for some reason. I have to figure out why. I'm normally on there too. So if you go listen to some of my past episodes on Spotify, make sure you give me a good 5-star rating. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps me out a bunch. And again, share it with your homies. I would be greatly appreciated. I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. And this is probably going to cost me some money. Not you, but me. If I hit that goal of 1,000 subs by the end of this year, we got almost half the year left. I'm going to redo my studio. I've already had some ideas and some plans. I'm going to order another camera. This camera that I'm using actually is brand new. Don't tell my wife that I bought this one, but I did. But then I found one a little bit better. This one isn't bad. It's definitely better than my last camera, but it's okay. But behind me, that whole back is going to change. I'm going to build some cabinets to go back on that wall. So that means my stickers and my patches are going to have to move. And we're going to change the whole inside of this studio. So that's my goal. And it's honestly, 1,000 subs isn't going to make me money to do it. But if we hit 1,000 subs by the end of the year, yep, we're going to change up the studio. So help me, help you, help me. That makes sense? That's not what this episode's about, though. There's something that we absolutely need to talk about. I really enjoy the Shawn Ryan podcast. I think he's a great interviewer. He has really intriguing people on his show. And it's a myriad of topics, like all over the place. He's rapidly becoming one of the top-rated podcasts or interview shows or channels or whatever you want to call it in the country because he has such good guests. And again, he's really good at getting information from these guests. Now, we had one on recently that is not really my favorite, and I'm assuming yours as well. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, just showed up this week. I think it was Monday is when the show originally aired. He was on the Shawn Ryan podcast. But we need to talk about some of the things he shared, particularly in the first 10 minutes or so, maybe less than 10 minutes. He lied to you. He lied to America. And we need to talk about it because he is a very, very good liar. And he's very good at sharing just enough information to make you feel like he's right. Now, this is a big deal. I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit. I noticed. There, sorry guys. This is a big deal because he's going to run for president. He's going to run for president, and I think he's going to win. I don't want him to. It would be terrible for the United States. And we're going to explain why here in a minute. But let's watch back and forth. I have to pause and talk and pause through some of the stuff just because of the whole copyright thing. But I think it's important that you watch it. So let me switch over to my share screen here.
Before we get started, so everybody gets a gift.
Oh, geez.
I know the volume's kind of quiet, and I don't know how to fix that. It's
Jesus.
Ready for this?
This is an actual. I got to report this gift, man.
That is a
Stevie's
California
here.
compliant
Oh,
Big Sauer
this
E365 macro.
Come on, man.
I don't know exactly what makes
By the
it.
way,
let's open it
this is too cool. The fact that you would give me this.
You
can't
like
even
that?
look this up. So you just want me to TSA to take this from me and my ass is arrested at the airport. I'm on to you, man.
Well, I got a buddy at SIG, and now he was like, "You got to get a SIG in his
You can't
hands."
even make
Name's
this up,
Jason.
brother. This is
So-
fabulous. You know what? Last thing people would expect is that I respect this gift.
Really?
I appreciate. Yeah, man. I'm not anti-gun at all. I'm for just some gun safety, common sense that I think vast majority of folks on the right and the left agree. And I think we've lost a little touch with some common sense around background checks. I think there's an age appropriateness.
So
I
some
do have
things
some
he said right there, right? Common sense gun control, just some measures that they're just easy. They're just easy, right? We're going to dig into that. Carry on.
You know, I'm challenged by large capacity magazine clips in urban centers.
He doesn't know what a magazine is because he calls it a magazine clip, much like some of the other retards from California, but let's carry on.
You know, weapons of war that are out there, sometimes outgunning the police. And
Side note, outgunning the police and the government is the sole purpose for the Second Amendment. Right? We have to keep them in check so we don't deal with tyranny, but let's carry on.
I've experienced that directly with the loss of a police officer who was gunned down by an AK-47, and the police.
I have never seen an AK-47 commit a crime. Have you? It's amazing. My guns, they never hurt anything. In fact, they never get out of the safe on their own. Now, if somebody was to use a firearm to commit a crime or a murder, that would make more sense. But it's the AK-47's fault.
Were outgunned at Bayview Hunters Point in San Francisco. But otherwise, man, people have the right to bear arms, and I got no ideological opposition to that at all.
Do you think? I was
Thank you,
going to.
by the way.
You're welcome.
That's crazy. Last damn thing I expected.
So, side note, when I was originally watching this, well, the last couple times I watched this, I was really looking at his facial expressions and trying to see if there was some, not that I'm an analyzer, not that I'm good at reading body language, but I still look for some micro expressions. So there's a little bit of contempt and a little bit of frustration, this whole gun conversation. You can watch him kind of clinch and like bring his face back, right? Kind of tighten his neck and jaw. And the other thing you see and you notice is he'll say one thing, but unconsciously shake his head like he doesn't believe it. Now, that may not be a tell, but that is something you might want to look at, that people do that when they say one thing, but they think and mean something else. Again, I'm not a body language expert. But
I expected a hat, okay? You gave me a goddamn gun.
Well, I got another gift for you.
sorry about the
too.
swearing. He's a prick, by the way. He's an arrogant asshole.
Diving into the 2A stuff. I'm just curious. We see a lot of the cities that that you can't conceal carry, or it's extremely hard to get concealed carry, or you know, California being one of them.
Yeah.
Illinois, New York. I mean, do you think that everyday citizens carrying a gun reduces crime or increases crime?
I think the evidence suggests the opposite. It increases the likelihood of a gun death. And you look at all the states with the most comprehensive gun safety.
Listen to this.
reforms,
This is
they have
important.
more
I hope
gun
you can
death
really hear
rates
this.
than states with weaker gun laws. And there's a
So what he just said is states with stricter gun laws have less gun deaths than states that don't have higher gun crime. So, well, actually, he said it just the opposite. He said red states. Actually, let's listen to it again. I don't want to misquote him. We jump back here a little bit.
correlation there. California is one of the lowest gun death rates in America. The highest murder rates in the country tend to be red states, significantly so.
Okay,
Look at the
that's what I
murder
want to
rate.
say. So, gun deaths are not the same as gun murders. Those are not the same. And we're going to dig into that here in a little bit. There is a drastic difference because when he says gun deaths, he's also including suicides in gun. That's how gun deaths are defined. That's both homicide, accident, and suicide. But then he goes to say that red states have the highest gun murder rates. And we're going to talk about that as well. He's not misspeaking. He's not misquoting. He is misrepresenting, because he's only giving you a little bit of the information. He's not sharing the whole deal.
The top 10 murder rates per capita in the country are all red states.
Well, I thought Chicago was the number one.
No, it was cities. You'll have
you see that
experiences, but at state level.
Shawn said, "Hey, I thought Chicago had the highest murder rate."
Saves lives.
Well, that's city. That's different.
That out. You look at the common sense gun safety laws that California started establishing in the 90s. You look at our gun death rate from the 90s till today.
Again,
significant reduction.
He's talking gun deaths.
Reduction in the gun
and then when he goes to red states, he says
that's
gun murder by state.
The data, I'm into the evidence. I'm also deeply mindful and respectful.
That's apples to oranges.
Of the Second Amendment and people's constitutional rights. But as it relates to just simple common sense.
Another clinch word.
The issue of background checks, and we haven't fundamentally addressed some of those gaps.
Universal background checks, that's a registry.
Mental health disorders and the like, or substance abuse. I just don't understand that gap.
Well, I think that the gap is.
I think we're going to be done here. I don't want to talk. I don't want to share too much more of his video, just because there's a lot going on there. Let me pull up my show notes so I can make sure I share with you exactly the correct stuff here. All right. So, again, he starts talking about gun deaths, and then he talks about gun murders. Two very different things. Now, it may say gun, and we just kind of visualize that they're the same things, that gun death and gun homicides are the same. They're not. They're not. And we're going to show you. We'll talk about this. But to help illustrate my commentary on this, I'm going to kind of go a different avenue than maybe what you would expect. And in order to understand the death side of things, I want to do a correlation here. And just go with me. Just go with me here down this avenue. Now, when I initially listened to this part of the show, I started to think, my gosh, you can't correlate the two and say it's the same thing. But what would kind of correlate with gun death? Right? Because he's saying that it's terrible. Guns just inherently are terrible, right? But then it made me think, okay, Mr. Wise Guy, if guns are such an issue, what other things tend to take the lives of especially children in the United States? And then I started thinking more, and I have made this association before. What about swimming pools? Right? If you have more guns, chances are more people are going to get hurt by guns. Goes to show you, right? That's just kind of makes sense. What about swimming pools? I mean, states with more swimming pools are going to have more drownings. No? What do you guys think? The answer is yes, absolutely. Because the accessibility to this thing that can cause an accident, no, it doesn't cause anything. The accessibility of somebody not paying attention and accidents occurring by a device, yeah, that makes more sense. All right, I'm not going to share these numbers on the screen. I'll read them. I know you love it when I read things. So let's see. Per capita, everybody loves the per capita number. So in the United States, there is about 0.58 per 100 accidental deaths by drowning in the United States. Now, if we go by state, obviously, California is going to have a higher drowning rate than, I don't know, Minnesota. Not a lot of outdoor pools in Minnesota. The concentration of pools is going to be greater where weather is nicer. So that death rate per capita, accidental death rate, is going to increase just by the sheer relation to exposure of whatever, right? Does that make sense? Surely, guns are such a traumatic issue that so many more people are dying accidentally because guns. That's the rationale. So does it work? Oh, I don't know. Let's look. Let's see. So pools are 0.58 per capita per 100,000 accidental deaths in the United States. Yet when we look at firearms accidental death, it's 0.16 per 100,000. By the way, there are about 47 million homes where firearms are there. I think that number is probably higher because a lot of those people aren't going to say they have guns in the home. But that accidental death rate is like drastically lower. You are more likely, your child is more likely to drown in a pool in the United States by 3.6 times the accidental rate of accidental shooting by a gun. 3.6 times greater than the gun. And there are far more guns in the United States than swimming pools. I know. You think, Steve, that's just as stupid as the comparison that Newsom just gave you. Is it? Because I can extrapolate data and say whatever I want to say. Pools are killing more children than anything else in the United States. I could make that claim. Because the accidental death rate, which is what is taking more children than anything else, more kids are dying from drowning than guns. So we should have common sense pool reform. I think people should be restricted to maybe 2 or 3 inches of water in their pool. Maybe only have one that's 5 feet in diameter. And it has to have walls around it. And you have to pass a background check to have that pool in your backyard. Oh, by the way, you also have to now have a tax to go along with that because, it's a safety thing. And you can't take that pool out of state with you without notifying, the pool board in every state. Yeah, that's how silly it is. And that's exactly how silly these common sense gun laws are. But I want to make some kind of a correlation with something else that we're seeing that takes a lot of lives in the United States. A whole bunch. So just work with me here, because this is going to get kind of weird, okay? But I promise there's a purpose for this. The CDC says that roughly per year, there's about 4,000 accidental drownings. Now that's in all bodies of water, whether it be a pool or a bathtub or an irrigation canal or a lake, something like that. 4,000. Now, we can be really conservative and say maybe half of those are in swimming pools. So now we'll say, okay, 2,000 deaths per year, accidental drownings per year in the United States. But for kids under 15, that's somewhere between 360 and 380 are their death in pools by not being attended. Okay? That means those are all in roughly about 80% on the high end in a residential setting. So not a public pool, but a pool in somebody's backyard. So then if we take that 2,000 per year estimated drownings, and then we look at the population, so 345 millions of Americans, we can divide those two and then times it by 100,000. That gives us a per capita of 0.58 per 100,000. So the accidental drowning rate per capita in the United States is 0.58. Too high, right? That's incredibly sad. I remember I had a nightmare as a kid. Well, not as a kid, but when my son was born, after he was born, okay, he was like 1 year. I had a nightmare that we took him to a public pool and he drowned. Terrible dream. So I can only imagine the parents that have to go through this. I can only imagine their grief and their pain and their frustration from a dream that I had, which is nowhere close to what reality is. Accidental drowning, write this down somewhere, Per capita accidental drowning rate in the United States is 0.58 per 100,000. Just work with me here. Let's jump over to the accidental firearms death rate. In 2023, the CDC said total firearms deaths was 46,728 total. Accidents just take up a small portion of that, about 1,500 roughly of that 46,000. I guess that's the other category. So really it's about 550 are accidental shootings out of that 46,000. So a pretty small portion of those, of all firearms deaths are accidents, 500. Some of these numbers come from the Gun Violence Archive. Yes, I'm looking at my show notes, so that's why I'm bouncing back and forth. So 550. Now we divide that by the population, 345 times that by 100,000. We get a per capita death rate of, are you good at math? 0. That number's the same. Point, same place. 1.6. You are more likely, your child is 3.6 times more likely to drown in a pool in the United States than to be accidentally shot by somebody else. Swimming accidents take more lives than firearms accidents. Now, I know what you're going to say, Steve, he didn't say anything about swimming pools. I know. But he did include gun deaths, didn't he? Now, he kind of bounced back and forth. Gun violence, gun homicide, gun death. Those are two different animals. Because when he says gun death, he means all gun deaths. So that 46,000 number, 46,728 in 2023. So he's using a number that's including two things that should not be included in that 46,000. He's including accidents. So I just told you 550 in 2023. He's also including suicides, which, by the way, is nearly 60% of that 46,000. 60%. More than half of those gun deaths that he wants you to fear for are suicides. I understand. Suicides are tragic. I lost a friend to suicide. I understand. Yeah, he used a firearm to take his own life. It sucked. But to unfairly use the death of somebody that was troubled, that had no other way, he felt, or these people feel, they had no other way to make it work, and to dance on their graves, to pump an agenda, is disgusting, and it's wrong. And you should be ashamed of yourself, Gavin Newsom, you piece of shit. So there's, like I said, there is sort of a correlation between that. Now, mind you, again, there are, I don't know how many thousands of pools did I say in the United States? I don't know if it's in this one here. I want to say it was like 80,000 pools or something across the United States, personal and public. There are nearly, now I know this number's inflated because I think this number, they say it's like 300 something million firearms in the United States. I really think the number's closer to 5 million firearms in the United States. This is editing Steve, not podcast Steve. Yeah, I know I said 5 million. It's 500 million. You guys probably knew what I was trying to say, but that's 500 million, I believe, 500 million firearms in the United States, and it could even be higher than that. Also, you maybe saw the blurb back there. 10.4 million homes have pools in the United States. 10.4 million. That's a lot of pools. It's way more than I thought. Anyway, back to the show. So there's a drastic difference in the thing we're talking about, whether it be a pool or a gun, and how often those things accidentally take lives. I know it's not lost on me that accidents are not the same as homicides, and we're going to get into that. Excuse me, I had a little bit of ice cream before the show. let's kind of shift gears here, because now I want to talk about the homicide. Like I said, your child is 3.6 times more likely to accidentally drown in a pool than to be accidentally shot with a gun. And we're going to kind of come back to that a little later on, but I just want to keep going here. Okay, let's talk about homicides, because this is important. It is definitely part of the category, and any gun used to commit murder is gross. It's not the gun. It's not an inanimate object that cannot do anything by itself unless it's used as a tool to kill. It's the murderer that is at fault. It's the murderer with a desire to take a life. That's the issue. And I know you understand that. But the left, especially Gavin Newsom, who is extremely good at lying, he'll manipulate your heartstrings to make you feel like he's on your side. And he is not on your side. So I wanted to do some digging. So he talked about red states have the highest gun death. Highest gun death. But my city is so good. My state's so good. Now, you got to understand, California and most beach coastal states, their side, again, because he's talking about gun deaths, their suicide rates are always lower because people are getting outside and enjoying the world around them. 60% of all gun deaths are suicide. So when he calculates this number, he's including suicides in states like Idaho. Unfortunately has a pretty high suicide rate. I don't know what it is offhand, but I know it's higher than California's. But you get to Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, these cold northern states, or these landlocked states, Oklahoma, like you get to these places where there's maybe not a lot of income going on, maybe some drug abuse, some alcohol abuse. All these things are leading factors to suicide. So gun deaths in these places are going to be higher. So it's important for you to really extrapolate and understand the reality of what he's not sharing you. I wanted to look at these cities and these states. So I asked Grok, say, hey, I need to know the states, what their per capita homicide rates are, or gun death rates. I think I actually did the homicide. This is strictly on homicide. So states, homicide rates, governor political affiliation. And then I asked Grok, I just want the top 10, because he would only give me 10. Honestly, I asked for 100, but he only gave me top 10. And I'll tell you why in a minute. But top 10 cities, the per capita homicide rate, gun homicide rate, mayor political affiliation. So let's jump into this. So state level, I'm going to go through all 50 states. I know this is going to be kind of boring for some of you, but just write it with me. Please write it with me. Alabama. So per capita rate is pretty high. 25.6 Republican. This again, states. So we're talking governors. So whenever I'm not going to name the governor, I'll just say the state per capita and governor's political affiliation, because this is how he attacks us, right? Alabama, 25.6 per capita, Republican. Alaska, 23.5, Republican. Arizona, 18.6, Democrat. Arkansas, 22, Republican. California, Gavin Newsom, 8.7. Not too bad, right? Democrat, obviously. California, I'm not going to read all these. I'll include them into the show notes. But you can go through. So these are alphabetical order. They're not in order of highest. Let me see if I can find the highest number. 25.9. That's Wyoming. Yeah, 25.9. So Wyoming has the highest suicide or homicide rate. Okay. Per capita. But you got to remember, there's like 100,000 people in Wyoming. So that means they had 25 deaths in 1 year. Idaho's my state here. So we have a 17.2 per capita gun death rate. Oh, I lied to you. That's gun death rate, not homicide rate. My bad. So Murder rate. So that was total gun death rate per capita. But murder rate by gun. So Alabama's 13.2. California's 5.2. Let's jump down to my state. 1.8, pretty low. Remember Wyoming. Oh, I was going to say they had the highest per capita gun death rate, but they don't have. Apparently, nobody was murdered at the time of this. These numbers were taken in 2023. I'll include all this stuff in there. There's 27 states that are Republican governors, and yeah, they seem to have a higher gun death rate. Again, this is including suicides, right? So, but let's go to the top 10. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, this was the first query here. Here's the top 10 cities. Here's the top 10. Should we go lowest to highest, like Rick D's? Coming in at number 10, Columbus, Ohio, with an estimated per capita of 18. Oh, yeah, and it's a Democrat mayor. Coming in at number 9, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with 20 death rate of 20 per capita. Oh, yeah, Democrat, by the way. Little Rock, Arkansas, Republican state. Isn't Huckabee, isn't she the governor there? But Little Rock, well, damn, son. That mayor is a Democrat. And their per capita rate is 30. Estimated. These are all estimated numbers as of 2020. Again, we'll get to reason why some of these numbers are a little bit fuzzy. Birmingham, Alabama. Alabama's a Republican state, is it not? Oh, yeah. That mayor is a Democrat. 35 per capita. New Orleans, terrible city when it comes to gun violence. 37 per capita. Democrat mayor, by the way. Memphis, Tennessee. Ooh, that place is dangerous. 44. A per capita of 44-ish. Democrat mayor. Detroit, Michigan. Beautiful this time of year, by the way. Motor City. It used to be an awesome city, actually, until the Democrats took control. 50. A per capita death rate of about 50. By the way, that's a Democrat mayor. Baltimore, Maryland. Home of the Ravens. 69 estimated per capita death rate. Democrat mayor. Jackson, Mississippi. I believe that's a Republican state. Remember, it has the highest death rate, right? One of the highest death rates. 69 per capita. Giggity. Democrat mayor, by the way. And coming in at number 1, St. Louis, Missouri. 65. Oh, no, that's not number 1. Why would you say number 1? Anyway, that's a Democrat mayor. Now, all these top 10 cities with the highest murder rates, they're all run by Democrats. And even though some of those are in Republican states, they bump up those gun violence numbers and only does the padding to Gavin Newsom's argument. You see where I'm getting at here? He doesn't want to talk about cities. Remember, Shawn Ryan brought up Chicago. Pretty messy city. No, that's cities. We're not talking about cities. We're talking about Republican-run states have a higher death rate. Yeah, because A, suicide is usually higher in those states. I don't know why. It sucks. B, if they took out these Democrat cities out of these Republican states, their murder rate, would drop. You see, they don't want to say, yeah, I get it. Correlation doesn't mean causation, but it's sure kind of funny that all the states with the highest murder rate, all the cities with the highest murder rates are run by Democrats who tend to push these common sense gun laws. Yet we see how they're working. Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws in the nation. How did that go? The 4th of July, they have like 2 or 3 major events where lots of people died in shootings. Common sense, right? They have red flag laws. They have extreme background checks. They have waiting periods. They have the FOID card. They have all the things that they love to espouse to, saying that it controls and lowers violence. Bad guys don't give a damn about your laws. Which I know you could say, well, that just strengthens the argument to get rid of guns. Again, look at these cities that have these common sense gun laws that the mayors are pushing. It only hurts people that obey the law. Good, law-abiding citizens. That's it. And then these thugs, they don't give a damn about the laws. They'll get whatever they want. They find these Glock switches all over the place. Temu, who knows? Well, they're probably coming in through the black market, obviously, probably coming through some Chinese deal, and they're just flooding the streets. Here's the problem with that. The left is going to use that as ammunition, no pun intended, either way to disarm you and me. Because these silvery fork-of-tongue devils like Gavin Newsom will make you feel good with what he's using as his speech. No matter how inaccurate, no matter how much he omits from it, you feel good. He is a great orator, by the way. And he's so good at using body language to give you something. He is a very good communicator. And that's why I believe he's going to win. Let's see. Let me jump back up here to my other show notes here. Again, so we see that these 10 cities, they're all run, these most violent cities, they're all run by Democrats. The top 10 violent cities in the United States. Causation and correlation aren't the same thing. But, I mean, we see it. We see it. You get on any kind of the local news in Chicago. I got a friend in Chicago, firearms instructor. He'll tell you, like, all the crap that goes on every damn day in Chicago, Baltimore, Louisiana, right? Like, listen, California, Oakland, California. Look at this, 17.1 death rate. That doesn't sound safe. Chicago's 18.3. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee, 23.0 per capita death rate. We talked about St. Louis, Baltimore, Kansas City. All these are Democrat-run cities. I know correlation isn't causation. We've said that 5 times already. But it's pretty freaking coincidental. You get in, there's a lot of nuance. So let me, I told you we're going to talk about this. Some of these numbers are really hard to get. Like I said, I tried to get the top 100 deadliest cities in the United States. And we saw this, we talked about this 15, 20 episodes ago about reporting is totally different for each state. There is no standard to reporting. There's no mandatory reporting on crime. Policing folks, they choose to contribute the data to the FBI. And so we get a lot of these scrappy little numbers that may not always make sense. They're not complete in some cases. That's why Joe Biden said crime has gone down since I've been president, because reporting dropped by like 25%, 20%. Precincts were just not reporting the crime. So if the numbers aren't there, garbage in, garbage out type of deal, of course. And we're still dealing with that, right? And these numbers are really from Biden's time frame. So they're not true numbers, but they're the best that we have. I guess that's the best way to put it. Now let's jump back to the pool thing and the gun thing. So obviously pools, to keep your kids safe, you're going to put fences up, you're going to watch your kids, you're not going to leave your little kids unattended. Same things with guns. And I already know you guys, well, if you're not, you should be doing it. You should. Yeah, you should store a firearm in a safe. You should not store your ammunition in the same place as your guns. Yeah, sure. I don't think it should be a law. That, I think, is common sense, personally. But red flag laws, universal background checks, these are stupid, because they're only hurting people that are already obeying the law. I know the cool off period, right? I don't remember who the gal was in California, but you heard the story where her estranged husband or boyfriend was threatened to kill her, so she went in to get a gun, and then there was like a 7-day waiting period, and in that 7-day waiting period, her ex-dude murdered her. Now, there's no guarantee the gun would have saved her, but at least she would have had a little bit more of a sporting chance. And that's not the only story like that. It happens all the time. The left tugs at your heartstrings. They make you feel like things are worse than they are because they add every possible narrative possible. Boy, that was redundant. To their argument. To skew your perception. Another thing that Newsom talked about was the polls for these common sense gun laws, and overwhelmingly, people on the left, people on the right, support common sense gun laws, including a Fox News poll. Okay, I never got called. Did you get called? If it comes up as a spam phone number, I'm not going to answer it anyways. Here's the reality. Conservatives don't really answer polls. Liberals and Democrats, they answer polls, I think it's like 15% more likely to answer a poll than a conservative. So does that mean that the concentration? Sure, they may have asked 100 citizens, but what's the data set? What's the amount of gun owners compared to non-gun owners? Conservative compared to liberal in that 100-person pool. You see, you can't trust these polls. Because there's lies, damn lies in statistics. Isn't that what Mark Twain said? You can't trust them because I don't know how they controlled those surveys. They could have gone to UC Berkeley and asked 100 stupid, idiot college students these questions and said, look, it was overwhelming support. Well, I could go to a bar and ask, I don't know if there's 100 people in the bar. It depends on the bar, right? I'll ask 100 people in the bar, what's the best thing to do on a Friday night? I'll probably get overwhelming support that coming to the bar is the best thing to do on a Friday night. Because of the people I'm collecting the data from. The location, the concentration of opinion. These polls are worthless. Don't fall into that crap because they're gonna do whatever they can to skew the perception and to skew the narrative to fit their argument. You can't have it's over half of the United States. I'm pretty sure that's what it's been a long time since I looked at these numbers. I should probably not say this is what it is. We know there's around 47 million homes in the United States own firearm, like there's firearms in the house. I bet you there's more than that because I never got called. And by hell, I wouldn't answer anyways if somebody asked if I had guns in the house. It's none of their freaking business. So that's why the 300 million guns and the 47 million homeowners, that's bullshit. Because these people are not answering honestly. I would say that the majority, over half of Americans own guns. I would be pretty comfortable saying that. I could be wrong. You telling me? And yeah, I guess that's true. Let's just go with this half number. Let's just say it's right down the line, 50-50. So when it comes to these polls about common sense gun reform, you would think that it would be split down 50-50. It won't be. It won't be. There's a small portion of Democrats that enjoy their Second Amendment. I've met a few, not a bunch. In my years of working the gun counter in the range, I've met a few. You're also going to have these dudes on the conservative gun owning side that are absolute fuds that don't understand what the Second Amendment is. They think it's just for them to go sport shooting and kill a deer every other year. And they're fine as long as their shotguns and their 1911s aren't touched. Those damn weapons of war, nobody should own them. They don't understand what the Second Amendment is. They don't understand why the Second Amendment was written. And they sure the hell don't understand why the founders put it in there, what they went through, and why they did it. You see, the founders didn't have muskets solely for the purpose of garnishing game to put food on their table. Yeah, they did it. That was definitely a use of the firearm. That was probably the majority of the times that firearms were used, simply because the effectiveness compared to, I don't know, a trap, a bow and arrow. The real purpose for the Second Amendment, I've said it before and I will continue to say it, is for the purpose of thwarting tyranny. Gavin mentioned we shouldn't have these people. They shouldn't have, I almost went to Marlon Brando. They shouldn't have these guns that the cops have. They shouldn't have the same guns. That was more a cartel sounding guy. Yeah, that's the purpose of the Second Amendment. We should have the exact same capability as those who are governing over us to keep them from becoming tyrants. Did you notice how he said an AK-47 killed a cop? Really? Weird. I bet it was some gangbanger with an illegal AK-47, probably fully automatic. I don't have one. Do you have one? I wish I had one. I'm sure that dude totally filled out his 4473 and picked it up at the gun store. I'm sure he did. No. Quit finding yourself falling into the traps of, oh, Gavin Newsom, he sounds pretty mediocre. I mean, look, he's a nice guy. He smiles. He's got great hair. He went skeet shooting on Mother's Day. I call bullshit on that one. Yeah, by the way, Ring and Rod or whatever it was called, where he went skeet shooting, that is a crazy private club, like very expensive, because he's an elitist, you see. Guns are cool for him and his protective detail, but no, not the people. The people have no need for guns. That's elitism, by the way. That's rules for thee, but not for me. Super frustrating. Super frustrating. Let me just share this. That I am absolutely concerned that Gavin Newsom will be the next president of the United States. He's going to run. And because he is so good at what he does, he's going to win. He's going to win unless you make your voice heard. You need to start right now. Put your money where your mouth is. Get involved in gun rights groups. Whether that be the national brand or your state brand, I would recommend both. You see stuff that happens in your state, you feel immediately. Stuff that happens nationally, it's a lot harder to change. We've talked about this ad nauseum. I was it wasn't really in the space. I was listening to an interview with Dexter Taylor, my friend Dexter Taylor, by the way. You can contribute to his defense fund. We have a Give, Send, Go. If you jump to my Twitter page at RangeMinded, I think it's the first pinned comment. There's a link to his Give, Send, Go. Please, if you have the means, please help him out. I don't need, it's not us. He needs, very soon, he needs about $11,000 to help file the appeals paperwork that he needs to. He's got a good attorney. His attorney's working hard. There's honestly not enough national exposure to Dexter's story. I'm going to have him on the show, just kind of working out some of the kinks. But he needs about $11,000. Actually, I think we're I shouldn't say, I have nothing to do with it other than just sharing his story. I think his fund is getting that $11,000. I think he needs another $8,000 probably right now. Honestly, he needs way more than that. His parents sacrificed so much to help him out in court, and he's a political prisoner. He should not be in jail. He was completely within the bounds of the Constitution. But New York is New York, and they're going to do New York things, which, by the way, is common sense to these people. These are the common sense gun laws that they're talking about. This is the type of shit that Gavin Newsom wants to happen across the country. Good everyday, law-abiding people punished and being made an example of to the rest of society to say, if you don't sit down, this is going to happen to you. That's their common sense. Just as relative as the swimming pool and the gun death thing. You see, if it was actually about saving lives, they wouldn't attack you and me. It wouldn't be about the gun. It would be about people. It would be about what is causing hate. All these SSRIs that these kids are on. The huge amount of mental manipulation going on in society, causing people to be confused and frustrated. Tons of outside influences that make things worse for the everyday individual. But they don't want to talk about that because that's hard to talk about. That's a lot harder problem to solve than just trying to take away something. That entire interview with Gavin on the Shawn Ryan Show, the entire interview was nothing but regurgitated propaganda that the system that he is a part of tells him he has to share. Some of those viewpoints, sure, may be his, but all of those viewpoints are drastically influenced by a party, a political party that wants dependence. It doesn't want citizens. It wants dependence. Dependence on every part of an aspect of their life, whether it be their food, their shelter, or their safety. You see, the Second Amendment was designed to keep the government from having any kind of influence over you like that. Any kind of influence. It is not the government's effing business to keep you, to give you the food that you need, to give you the safety that you need. That has, the government was not designed to do that. The machine has grown so much that they are forcibly trying to do that every day. If the founders were alive today, man, they'd be pissed. You see, our lives, our purpose in this country is to be free. Freedom of worship, freedom of speech, freedom to petition your government, freedom to keep and bear arms, free from search and seizures, free to be in front of a court, free to see your accusers, free trial, right? Voting for all citizens, free from the government housing their thugs in your house. That includes surveillance, by the way. We keep these freaking phones in our house. We're being surveilled 24/7. But because of our convenience, we let it slide. Every day, we're being manipulated and pushed into a corner. And then we get gaslit to the point where we start thinking maybe we are the problem. Don't fall prey to that. You do what you want. You watch that interview. You listen to those fools in Washington, both sides of the aisle, by the way. Make up your own mind. But understand everything they do, everything they say is calculated to manipulate how you feel, how you perceive what you're seeing, not to think and learn objectively, not to go look at the numbers. Do you know how long it took me to find these numbers on gun homicides, gun death compared to gun homicide? 2 seconds. It's not hard to do. But people just gobble that shit up because it makes them feel good. It validates how their feelings are, not reality, but how they feel, how they perceive something. Quit being manipulated. Do the research yourself. Don't even listen to me. Don't believe me that there were 47,000 gun deaths, but 58% of those are suicide. Don't believe me. Look it up yourself. Don't believe me. Don't believe anybody that you're hearing. Do the research yourself, because that's when you have power. That's when you become ungovernable, right? Picture the Haymeyer bulldozer, right? Don't tread on me. Become ungovernable. The only way you become ungovernable is because you Take the time to learn and see and study yourself. Quit listening to anything you read online. This whole Trump Epstein thing, I wasn't going to talk about this, but my gosh, what are they doing right now that we're not watching? Because we're so foolish of getting wrapped up in this asinine controversy with this Epstein stuff. That being said, don't get me wrong. People, if they're messing with kids, those people need to have a millstone tied around their neck and they need to be chucked in the ocean. I don't care who they are. I don't care how powerful they are. It needs to be cleaned out. But understand, we are focusing so freaking hard on this list and what the president's doing and saying. What is going on around us? See, Israel bombed and was it Damascus? They bombed the CIA building or whatever, their intelligence building. Hello, like Israel. What's going on? Last thing, and I'm going to let you go. I don't know how long for sure this video is going to be with the edits and such, but I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. Things are just going to get harder. Things are going to slowly but progressively get worse, no matter who's in office. We look at the weather patterns, call it global warming, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. It's happening either way. You saw the video of the New York subway where the water's like rushing in to the causeway where people walking underground, like there's just tons of water just flooding into the subway tunnels. We see flooding all over the South and all the way up, I think, in Philadelphia even, or Pennsylvania, which is Philly, I guess. Prepare. If you're prepared, you're not going to fear. Start thinking about the things that can happen where you live. Where I live, it's bloody cold in the wintertime. When I was a kid, the power went out probably 30% of the wintertime was we had gas little lantern things, the antique ones, the little, never mind. And stoves, wood burning stoves. That's how we cooked and that's how we stayed warm. And the light was by those little oil lamps. I'm dead serious. That's how I grew up. Really cold in the wintertime and dark really early. Summertime, fires. I think this year is going to be a terrible fire year for us. Prepare. Think about the things that happen where you live. Get the right gear. Get prepared. Get a way to communicate. You need communication. You need a way to talk to other people. Baofeng makes some great radios. I'm not sponsored by anybody, unless Baofeng wants to sponsor me. You need to find a way to communicate with those around you. You need to create a community that of people that you can trust, that have varying skills, don't have the same skills as you, but have other skill sets that will come in handy. It's just going to get worse. Who knows? The political climate could drastically change. Our power grid could go down. Who knows? Just gather your own information and prepare. What else do you do? Run for office. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Anyway, that's it. That's the show. I just get really frustrated with the left and how they manipulate the information. I just wanted to share that with you. It's not that hard to find data. It's everywhere. You got to be careful when you're using AI. You got to cross-reference the data. You got to know what's being said, because even AI tends to skew the information a little bit. Some of the other show notes, I had it rewrite and glean further information, rewrite, cross-reference, rewrite. Some of the stuff that it looked up for me was pretty left, honestly. It went into gun control and why it's important, basically. And I was like, well, that's not what I believe. I'm not going to share that with you. It's not what I believe. You guys are awesome. Again, I don't know how long this video is. It's a lot of video on my end, but I'm going to pare it down to best I can. Keep it around 45 minutes. Could be longer. Just remember that it's important to take other people shooting. It's important to include other people in the 2A space. because we need to fight to keep it. And the more people that are involved in the fight to keeping it, obviously the better chance we have to keep it forever. Take somebody shooting. Let them experience the why. It's a ton of fun. I don't remember if I talked about it last time. I really don't remember what I talked about in the last episode. I must be losing my mind. Took the neighbor and his 2 nephews shooting. They've never been shooting before. They had a blast. I had a blast. When these kids were like 8 and 11, just young. They had a ton of fun. And it was fun helping them experience firearms for the first time. It's okay to take people shooting. Oh, in fact, just the other Monday, what is it today? 2 days ago, I helped a bunch of college kids shoot skeet. It was a ton of fun. They, some of them had shot before, but probably the majority never shot a shotgun before in their life. And some of them were pretty damn good. We need to give these good experiences, the positive experience of firearms use, to the next generation so they understand the why. And then at some point we can talk about why statistics are the way they are, why stories are slighted the way they are. Not at first. Don't do that at first. And you need to stay range-minded. You guys are amazing. Again, don't forget, I have a goal. If I hit my goal, I'm going to work on the studio. Stuff's going to start changing behind me anyways. You can't see it, but you kind of can see the bookshelves behind the flags there. I'm going to move those bookshelves out. It'll give me another 1.5 foot of space behind me. So help me hit my goal. I greatly appreciate it. Again, don't forget, please, if you have the means, donate to Dexter Taylor, his legal fund. Give, send, go. Go to my X account, pin comment, boom, right there's the link, and you can donate. That would be immensely appreciated. Get involved. Help each other out. Take somebody shooting. Stay range-minded. Love you guys.